Hey, this is really weird. Speaking of cases, Donald Trump now says he is honored, not horrified, not concerned. Trump is honored that we in the United States have by far the most coronavirus infections in the world. This is extremely odd. Here is the man himself saying it.
So when we have a lot of cases, I don't look at that as a bad thing. I look at that as, in a certain respect, as being a good thing because it means our testing is much better. So if we were testing 1 million people instead of 14 million people, we would have far fewer cases, right? So I view it as a badge of honor.
This is absolutely crazy. Trump talks about this as an honor. He's not really honoring the victims or their families when he continues to just flippantly remark about we've passed the peak. We figured it out. We're the best. We've got the most tests, the best tests. We've got all the equipment. We've got all the different stuff. We're reopening. It's all great. We did so well. He doesn't seem to be honoring anyone, and Trump continues to be completely confused about testing. He keeps talking about raw numbers. We've, 1 million tests, 14 million tests. Let's give this some serious thought because this matters. Trump's wacky comment about a badge of honor from having the most infections, it's nuts. I mean, it's bonkers, off the wall, cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. But let's use it to actually get informed about things. Let's not just dismiss it as the rantings of a lunatic, which it is. But Trump's idea is we have so many infections because we have so much testing. Okay, let's explore that. Let's look at the numbers. Of the 5 million global confirmed coronavirus cases, the U.S. has about 1.6 million. So what we have in the U.S. is 32% of the cases, but we only have 4% of the population. So the cases are out of sync with our population. Now, we have more cases than the next, I think it's 6 countries combined globally. The case numbers are crazy. But do we have the most cases because we have the most testing? Well, not really, in the sense that our testing per capita is still only 38th in the world. So what Donald Trump is claiming doesn't make any sense. And we still are only testing about 375,000 people per day. I sound like a broken record. I've told you many times now, we should have been at 500,000 a day more than a month ago. We need to get to 500,000 a day to eventually get to 1.5 to 5 million tests per day. That's what you need to really be doing significant surveillance testing where you would say, listen, regardless of symptoms, if you are 65 or older, you need to go and get a test this week. Okay, next week, if you are between 55 and 65, go and get a test. You need 1.5 to 5 million tests a day to be able to start doing that kind of surveillance testing. We are nowhere close to that even still. Let's move on to the next analysis. Maybe most importantly, there is no doubt that case numbers do depend on testing, even if the U.S. is only 38th per capita in testing. But deaths do not depend on testing. And when you look at deaths per capita, the United States is 12th highest in the world in deaths per capita out of more than 180 countries, as Donald Trump often likes to say. Our deaths per capita, not total deaths now, okay? Of course, we're number one in total deaths, but that's different. We're talking about deaths per capita. Deaths per capita, the United States is the 12th highest out of more than 180 countries. So a lot of people have been writing to me saying, David, you've got to talk about this with Joe Rogan next time you go on. I do hope that this comes up next time I go on and talk with Joe Rogan about it. I want to get the data out there. And the frustrating thing about this is that it's shocking how many people are making claims about cases, deaths, testing without understanding that you can just go find the data. Very often I will tweet a screenshot of testing numbers per capita, deaths, whatever, right? I'll tweet it. And in the responses, people are responding to things where it's implicit that we just don't have access to a bunch of this data. The data is available. And one of the things that, if I get an opportunity at some point soon to talk with Joe Rogan about this, it's not going to be about attacking anyone or proving anybody wrong. It's going to be to point out that we don't have to speculate about a lot of this stuff because we have the data. Now, if you want to argue there is something missing from the data or the data is inaccurate in some way, I welcome that discussion. It seems increasingly when we look at places like Florida that the inaccuracies go in favor of those who want to pretend that this is no big deal. but I welcome the opportunity to do that. I want to give a quick shout out to one of our sponsors, Vincero Watches. They're giving my audience 15% off your entire order when you go to davidpakman.com/watch. Maybe you don't usually wear a watch and you've been thinking about looking for one to elevate your look, or you've been thinking about replacing the one you have. Check out Vincero. It's an American company. All of their watches are built in small batches from high-end materials. They look amazing. And they look like something you'd spend a lot of money on, but every Vincero watch ranges from $150 to $300. I went on their website and picked out the Kairos in white and silver. Really love the look, the combination of the white face and the beige band. Really love this one. They also sent me the Kairos limited release gold reserve set. Totally different style. This one would make a fantastic gift for a couple people I can think of in my family. Anytime you see me wearing a watch on the show, I'm wearing a Vincero watch. Go through their collection. I know you'll find something you like, and you'll get 15% off when you go to davidpakman.com/watch.